Mr. Davis.
Which would you?
She does know that he does receive Social Security for his disability. She doesn't know what. I asked her why. She didn't know. And she said, well, kind of thing that if she were to ask Mr. Davis, he would go on in a one-sided conversation for an extended period of time, and she still wouldn't know the answer to that. So she hasn't seen any medical proof, and I guess when I heard that, I understood where she was from, because that's the Mr. Davis that I know. So I did bring to court for the court's consideration, and I showed this to Mr. Zimmel. I do have letters from Cascadia Behavioral Health Care. This is regards Mr. Davis's housing. It has his name, his address. I have also treatment authorization consent form. I have forms from supplemental Social Security showing disability payments. I can forward those to the clerk here.
Yes,
if I may.
And I gave him my counselor's number and all that, so he can.
Yeah.
And if you guys want to contact him.
Okay, hold on. So I did make a call to the, her name on her business card is case manager for Cascadia, and I think she called me back while we were here. Sorry I didn't get to speak to her sooner. I believe Mr. Davis signed a release so I could talk to her, but that's a little use now. I also wanted to, before I finish, just let the court know that there are some people here who would like to speak on Mr. Davis's behalf, people that know him. I have a Mrs. Hayes in the front row with the walker, and Ms. Newell here with the glasses in the second row, and Mr. Walsh, who we know from trial also. All these people have known Mr. Davis for at least a couple of years, and I think they can speak on some of the good work that he does advocating for homeless folks, and that's my understanding of what he does. Not professionally, but that's his focus and his passion. So, in sum, Mr. Davis is not a perfect person. He has some issues. I would submit they're serious issues, but they're things that mitigate the nature of his offense and things that also can be addressed by the sentence that I'm recommending. So for that reason, I respectfully ask that the court impose a shorter period of bench probation with a few conditions, namely some community service and some mental health counseling.
And what are your thoughts on the constitutionality of exclusion from city hall as a condition?
Yeah, I'm not sure, to be completely honest. And it could be unconstitutional. I don't know what sort of conditions a court sitting on a criminal case could impose. That reminds me, though, sorry to digress, but
no, it's okay.
One of the things that I believe it was Ms. Elmore from the city said is that she wanted a condition about Mr. Davis not following employees. And I understand that completely. I heard her speak, and I believe she's sincere in what she said, but I think we need to remember that this is a trespassing case and criminal mischief in the third degree case, and I don't think that those kind of personal terms respect to particular individuals. I mean, even if it's as a class, I just don't think it's appropriate in a case with these types of charges. Any questions?
All right.
All right, thank you.
And then let me ask both of you whether or not you think it's more appropriate for me to hear from Mr. Davis first or the supporters first.
The supporters.
Okay.
Yeah,
Let's go ahead.
that's what I believe too.
Okay, let's go ahead and do that one at a time, and then each person, I'll have them sort of stand next to Mr. Gilbert so that the microphone in front of Mr. Gilbert can pick up their voices. And who should we hear from first?
Okay. Ms. Newell, can you come forward? And I believe is it Nancy Newell?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Newell, tell Judge Lavin a little bit, and here's the microphone, it's here.
Actually, go ahead and step behind
Here.
council
Okay.
table
Step
next to
next
Mr.
to me.
Gilbert. Yeah.
Okay, so this is the microphone. You don't need to speak directly, but just stand near. And
Okay.
tell,
It'd be a little easier. I have a little bit.
Judge.
I think that's Mr. Gilbert's seat, but if he's okay with it, I'm okay
I
with it.
have
Okay.
a little vertigo, so.
Oh, okay.
I'm 72 and
Okay.
I've been a long time environmental activist ever since the 3 Mile Island accident. You know about that, nuclear accident. And my mother was city treasurer for many years, popularly elected in the town that I grew up in. So I'm familiar with politics, I'm familiar with how it functions. I've known Kif for at least 7 years. And we've done activism together on homelessness. And I know that Kif has a loud voice. It could frighten certain people, especially if they're not feeling so well that day or something. But it isn't intentional. And he is a very important spokesperson and camera person for what police have done. And Judge Simon, federal Judge Simon, agrees with me because he started the co-op process here. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but that was 28 representatives trying to straighten out the Portland police force and their cruelty to the homeless in the streets. And we were lucky to have some photographers any hour of the day following what is happening to the homeless, because Keith was homeless with his own condition and understood what they were going through. I think that's a sign of dedication, and you're in a very stressful environment. And I've been in stressful environments. Recently, the mayor kicked me out of City Hall because I exposed his giving our Bull Run drinking water to Chase Bank to pay back the debt on the water supply system, infrastructure repairs. So Enron and, you know, the associations with the amount of corruption that travels through our city, we had Ken Layton here from Enron, running the electricity, taking over PGE. I mean, we know who he is, we know who Enron is, and I told the city, don't let them in, because I knew all about them.
do you have any more to say about it?
But Keith is on that level for the homeless people. And homeless people are homeless because of people like Chase Bank and Enron, and that have been allowed to operate illegally in this city doing all these criminal actions that have been proven. And there's a desperate need for Kif Davis and people like him that are doing this wonderful work. And I think, you know, he may make mistakes, and I'm sorry that the woman was intimidated, because I know that can be intimidating. But sometimes, I'm not a person that spoke up a lot in my early years, but I speak up a lot more and I get things done. So we got Enron out of here, and I helped with that. And I got congratulated by Governor Barbara Roberts closing the Trojan nuclear plant, because we don't need radiation in our air, water, and causing autism in children. So the dedication is serious. And Keith is one of those.
Thank you, Mr. Gilbert.
Okay, how about Joe Walsh, can you move over here?
Sure. I think.
If not, I'll let the microphone.
There we go. You can try to keep it focused on Keith if you can. How you know him and what kind of person he is.
Good afternoon, Judge. One of the celebrated congressmen, John Lewis, says to his constituents and to his people, all who will listen, go do good trouble. Those two words are magnificent to an activist. Go do good trouble. So what is that? What is good trouble? It means that activists are going to get into trouble because we aggravate people. We force people to look at themselves and the truth. And that's what Keith does. And the good is for other people. We fight for other people, we don't fight for ourselves. I spend most of my time fighting, and Keith spent most of his time fighting for other people. He did not get up in the morning of the day that he put the blood on the wall of City Hall to do that. So where did the blood come from? They beat the hell out of him. Isn't that enough? Isn't that enough?
Can I ask you a question? There's something I've been curious about. I don't know, have you seen the,
We are not perfect, Your Honor. We make mistakes.
so I can't ask you
When
a
I
question.
call people names, it's a mistake. But it's that anger and frustration that comes. To punish this man in the extent of what the state or the county is asking for, it's just a continuation of what's going on. You know? Keith is not the same as I am. I believe in total nonviolence, except my mouth. My mouth is sometimes violent because I call people names like Trumpy or asshole. And I may have played a part. And the defense attorney brought this up. And I agree with him. I may have played a part to tick off the mayor so much that now we are sitting in court today. And I have to worry about that. Because I almost want to ask you, okay, what if you do the key? Cut it in half and give me the other half. Because I played a role in this. You have activists come before you time and time again. We're not going to stop
No, I'm not gonna stop.
because of what's going on. Don't punish this man. Honor him.
Okay. Your Honor, I'm not sure if Mr. Walsh, I think you had a question for Mr.
I
Walsh.
did.
I'm not sure if he heard.
Maybe he didn't hear me.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Okay, if you didn't hear me, I'll just ask. So
Yeah, I didn't hear it.
Okay, I just indicated that I had a question that I've been curious about. Have you seen the video of the, what happened outside of City Hall, or outside of the City Council on the day of the incident?
No, because I was a witness.
Okay, so you haven't been able to see the video?
Okay, but I was at City Hall that day.
Yeah. So
So which part are you talking about?
yeah, so there's a part where you're outside of the city council chambers and Mr. Davis has been escorted out of city council chambers.
Not escorted. He was dragged out,
Okay,
Your
just
Honor.
listen to the
Dragged out by 4 people.
dragged out, and he's bleeding, and he ends up starting to put the blood on the art fixture that's out there.
That's not art. It's a wall with stuff that people pay to put up
I think
there.
you're still. Let me ask my question because I think you're missing my point.
Well, make it accurate.
Okay, so my point is that there's a point in the video where you seem to be telling Mr. Davis to calm down and that you think that Mr. Davis is overreacting and that Mr. Davis is not behaving appropriately. Is that accurate?
We make mistakes, Your Honor. You know, in my life, in my essence, in my activity, Mr. Davis was beyond me. Right? I wouldn't do that. As I wouldn't go to the mayor's house. I wouldn't do that. That doesn't mean it's not good or right. It's just that I wouldn't do it.
Did you think?
And I was trying to intercede to keep him from being arrested.
Did you
I
think?
didn't want to see him arrested.
Did you think he was making a mistake that day?
What, by putting blood on the wall?
Yeah.
If I say yes to that, it will hold it against him. If I say no to it, I'd be lying.
The reason
So the answer is yes.
and I'm not asking in order to hold it against him. I'm asking because I think I want him to hear you say that. Because I think maybe hearing you say that means more than hearing me say it.
I don't walk on water, Your Honor, neither do you. We make mistakes, major mistakes in our lives,
And we have to pay for our
right?
mistakes.
And we have to pay for them reasonably, not outlandishly. He didn't get up to plan this thing. They beat him. This G4S is a rotten organization. It's an international rotten organization. And you have to understand that. They beat him.
Thank you, Mr. Walsh.
And I know I'm out of line. Let him take it out on me.
I don't think you're out of line. I asked the question and you answered it. Is there somebody else that you want to have speak? Mr. Davis.
Okay, Abby. Well, hold on one second.
Holy moly! Nothing me.
No, that was for me.
It's gonna be a-
Nothing me.
For you?
No. Not gonna do it. Alright. No, Your Honor. But Mr. Davis would like to address the
I think there was a woman in the back, but I want to, it's up to Mr. Gilbert whether or
Yeah.
not he wants you to speak on Mr. Davis's behalf.